It is the latest edition of NBA TV's Making the Call, starring, as always, the TV star himself. The NBA's Vice President of Referee Operations, Joe Borgia, with Dennis Scott. I'm Jared Greenberg. He's starting to like this TV thing.
Yes, he is.
I've heard he's got a fan club up in the Northeast.
Yeah, my wife.
Well, that's you got to start somewhere, Joe. As we have talked about in previous shows, we wanted you to get involved, and today is a perfect example. We want to thank all the viewers at home for tweeting in questions to us, and many of the topics today were selected from those that use the hashtag Making the Call. And we're going to start with an interesting term, verticality. It is legal in Scrabble, so it's kind of a real word. I guess it is, verticality. Joe, and really it's a complex call, and one, especially in late games, causes the referees and fans and announcers to say, hey, what's going on?
There's a lot of parts to the verticality. I think people think it's very simple, vertical. Okay, that's only part of the equation. And we're going to show you a few plays, and we're going to break them down exactly how many different parts there can be involved with these plays.
All right, let's take a look at the first example from the Los Angeles Clippers. Ryan Holland's playing some defense.
So let's look at Ryan here. So let's start with the simple part. Is he standing vertical?
It looks good to me, Joe.
Looks good, okay? And then the second part would be, does he jump vertical?
I think he jumped vertical, but Xavier Henry knocks him back.
Well, there's going to be some movement with him when there's some contact, but as long as he jumped vertical, we're in good shape.
All right, some of us are vertically challenged, not like Dennis here, but show us exactly what you mean, Joe, with verticality and what's legal and what the referees are looking for.
Okay, well, first, like we talked with Ryan Holland, we're talking about how my body and arms are. Now, you saw Ryan's arms were slightly forward. Well, to ask somebody to put their arms back, I mean, that hurts your shoulders a little bit.
That's
so
not realistic.
Being slightly forward, we're okay. Now, they can't be at 45, okay? Because if you're at 45 and the player jumps up into your arms, that is going to be an automatic foul.
And he has to jump straight up. He cannot jump side to side.
That's the second part of verticality, okay? Jumping vertical means you jump and you land on the same spot unless you get knocked off it. So any player that sort of jumps forward, which a lot of them do when they're trying to block a shot, they jump forward or they're jumping slightly sideways into the path. And that's what makes it illegal. And there's a few other little areas that you have to take into consideration, like the restricted area and the start of the upward shooting motion.
Okay.
So if you're in the air in the restricted area, it's legal.
As long as you jump up to defend the drive to the basket, you are considered legal, and the restricted area does not apply.
So regardless if it's a shot or a pass, as long as you're vertical, you're good.
Well, the defender doesn't know what you're going to do with the ball, so the same rule applies. As long as you are jumping vertical and your body is vertical to defend the drive, you're in a legal position.
All right, the next example of legal verticality comes from Paul Pierce of the Brooklyn Nets as they took on the Orlando Magic. Victor Oladipo drives in, but Joe, as we see here from Pierce, he's okay.
Okay, let's take a look at it here, and we have it on screen here. So we got the drive to the basket. So we're looking again, when does Oladipo start his upward shooting motion? Is Paul Pierce at the position? Okay, so right about here, he starts up. So Paul Pierce, is his body directly in the path of the shooter? And the answer is yes. Even though he was slightly in the restricted area. The next area we're looking at, does Paul jump vertical? Okay, and I think from this angle, you're going to see Paul jumps relatively vertical until that contact comes, which knocked him over to the side and backwards a little bit. So that is a legal defensive play by Paul Pierce.
All making sense to you?
All makes sense. So as long as you go vertical, regardless if you're out, say in the mid post or the low post, you're legal.
Anywhere on the court, as long as you are at the spot prior to the upward motion and you jump vertical, you're in a legal position, so it should not be a blocking foul. Now, you still have two other choices. You can have a no call or an offensive foul.
Right. So there basically is three calls that you guys are looking to make, your officials.
On block charges, we're looking at three calls. Block, charge, no call.
All right. One time they did call on the defensive player before he was traded out of Chicago, Luol Deng. Here was our latest example of some poor defense, at least in terms of officiating. It broke the rules, Joe.
This one's a little different twist to the verticality principle. We don't have a drive to the basket. This is on a jump shot, okay? And what you're going to see here, dang, right? His body's straight up, his arms are gonna get straight up, but what does he do? He moves forward.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so that would not really be considered vertical. He moved forward right under the shooter. He did not give him an opportunity to land. Therefore, that is a shooting foul.
So that's why you got to contest that shot and kind of get out the way. That's what Dang should have done.
He's either got to sort of go to the side, get out of the way, or he's got to stop, allow me to land.
And Joe, I think it's important, too, as fans, whether we're in the arena or watching at home, to watch the complete play, not just the beginning of what the defender does, because he may start legal but end illegal.
We have a term in officiating, start, develop, finish. Okay, keep your air in the belly, watch the play from the start, watch it develop, and watch it finish, and then make a decision. Was the defender legal? Was the offensive player legal? And block charge, no call.
All right, we are just getting started here on Making the Call. Joe Borgia is going to put us through the test throughout the entire program. And when we return, another topic chosen by the viewers on Twitter, traveling. And what the heck is this hop travel that everybody's talking about these days?